Hi, welcome to the Offcut podcast, where Olof and I talk about craft businesses, social media, and making a living from what you create. In today's episode, we talk about how we both started creating and selling our woodwork, including our thinking and strategies, what worked and what didn't. If you're interested in the work we do, our social links will be in the description below. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Can you tell me a little bit about your story? How did you get started?
So, I started, I quit my career, my IT career, and I knew I wanted to make furniture. I'd been watching lots of like furniture YouTube videos, and I was kind of obsessed with them. I thought it would be a really cool job to try, and I've always been hands-on with tools. But so the way I actually got started was I started an Etsy shop. And that I found I don't even know why I picked Etsy, but I thought my initial thought...
feels like Etsy feels like the go-to. You see it everywhere.
Exactly. It felt like a go-to, and it felt like the easiest way to start it removes a lot of barriers of building a website, and it also gets your product in front of people who want to shop because it's an online store. So people go to Etsy to buy products, handmade products. So yeah, I started on Etsy, and I took the approach of, I wasn't necessarily sure of what type of furniture I wanted to make. So I tried to make quite a few things. I started making coffee tables, quite simple coffee tables, which were just boards glued together with hairpin legs, metal legs. And I also tried to make small painted side tables. And I made a range of different variants of side table and coffee table. And over time, some of them sold, some of them didn't. So then I would double down on the ones that sold and make variants of those ones, because obviously they had some success. And I sort of built it up from there. So that's how I got started.
I remember I went to like a school for design, and I was mostly working with wood and doing wood turning. So I had a lot of like wood turning stuff, and they were just unique pieces. They were all messy and just like me playing around, having fun. And we did a Christmas market at the university. So in like the entry space where there was a lot of people moving, and we just set up tables and started selling, and I did really well. Like I sold a lot of pieces that were unique, because I think a lot of it was like the perfect audience or the perfect customers to buy unique pieces, because young university students, I think they want to buy something very unique that no one else have.
Right, yeah.
So that went very well, because I kind of did a split test early on. So I went to a regular market as well a few months later, where there were a lot of older wood turners and stuff that were selling their stuff, and I didn't sell barely anything of the wood turn stuff. I sold some cutting boards and stuff like that, but yeah, it didn't do as well at all. And partially, I guess, was because there was like older wood turners selling their very fine bowls and stuff for like $5 or something. So yeah, it was hard to compete with that. Yeah. And then it was kind of slow. We had those, I was there for 3 years, and every Christmas we did these markets, and I did a little bit better every day or every year. But yeah, and that was the time I started my first web shop, and I only got one sale. So back then I set up everything myself, and for me at that time, setting up a web shop was kind of a big cost for my business, and I was very disappointed when I only got one sale. And yeah, what happened after that? I think about that time I got my first restaurant. I reached out to them and asked them if they needed something, and we had a call. And it's like a fine restaurant here in Sweden. They do like wild meat, so they hunt the meat themselves, and it's a very cool place. And I got like a pretty big order for me at the time, so maybe 20 bowls or something, and some trays and stuff. So that was I guess, my first bigger job. And then I went to another school, started selling. Now I'm trying to remember what happened then. I think it was a while where I didn't sell much. And then I tried reopening my web shop because I got more and more followers, and I felt kind of stressed that I didn't sell anything, but it felt like I had the opportunity. But my first experience with a web shop was so bad, so I felt some kind of resistance. But then I started a web shop, and pretty soon the orders started ticking in, so I didn't have time to create more. And that was a stress in itself, because I wanted to use the school time to just practice and get better at the techniques. And so that it's been like that for quite a while, that I feel like I haven't had time to produce more pieces. So I do custom work every now and then, and when I have a piece, I upload it, and sometimes it sells and sometimes it takes a while. But
so you effectively went straight from selling in market to apart from reaching out. Did you reach out to more people like you did with the restaurant? Did you go for a phase of reaching out to people?
Not really. No. Mostly people wrote to me on Instagram, and then they wanted something custom. So that's where most of my work is, just DM on Instagram and people want stuff.
So you effectively went straight from selling in markets to setting up your web shop the first time round, and then you moved to, you started a different school, and at that time, did you start posting?
Yeah, I started posting photos very early on, but I didn't see any success until I started with videos. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm actually, in a way, in the sort of the structure of it, I'm quite similar, because I didn't start at markets, but I started on Etsy, and that did relatively well for, I thought, at the time when I was starting. But I wanted to set up my own website so I could avoid Etsy fees, but I could transition away from Etsy because of the fees that they charge, which as a woodworker really eats into your margins. And so I started my own web shop, which I spent quite a lot of time setting up. I did it by myself, like you, and then like you, I had to think, right, how am I going to drive traffic to it? And I thought, social media is the obvious option. And from when I started social media to now, that is the main thing that drives my sales.
For me too, for sure. But I'm curious, because you saw some success at Etsy. I tried the Etsy shop and I didn't get one sale. I didn't do it for long, but I just gave up.
So what were you trying to sell on Etsy? Was it your wood turning?
I don't remember. I don't even remember if I posted that many pieces. I don't remember. It was so many years ago now.
Yeah, I don't really know. I made a really simple coffee table. I think the strategy that did work for me is I put my prices like quite low to start with, and like I was thinking, well, I don't. When you open a brand new shop, you don't have reviews, so there's no sort of trust element. You're just a shop on there selling other stuff. So you got to somehow differentiate yourself from other Etsy shops, and I did that in two ways. At first, I did it with low prices. I think that's the easiest way, but it's the quickest way to burn out. But I did it with low prices, and secondly, I tried and experimented with so many different variants of my products. I offered lots of different colors, lots of different styles, and I offered an easy way for people to customize. I basically put in the top of my descriptions, if you want a custom version of this, just message me and I'll I'll do it for you. So yeah, my first year on Etsy, I sold over 100 pieces of furniture, which was a lot of work, but I learned so much about finding my feet as a furniture maker. But yeah, so what made it work? I'm trying to think. I offered I think it was the combination of, it was low price stuff, but it was also, I made some really somewhat out there designs with using simple shapes like squares and rectangles, but I made designs and color choices that stood out that no one else had. So I was quite different from what you could buy on there. And yeah. And I always made sure to, especially when I started, to ask for reviews or ask for feedback. And if your work is good, you'll get good reviews. And that also helped. Getting reviews in really builds trust. And once I got my first couple of reviews in, I saw my sales just in a way took off. I was getting them way more consistently. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I guess that's the trick on Etsy. Get good reviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's good to niche down early on or to keep it wide? Like from your Etsy experience, it was good to be wide.
Well, so I was wide, and then when I went wide, tried lots of different variants of products, and then when I had ones that were successful, I doubled down on them. So I was like offering over. I'd have to look at my old listings, but I offered over like 30 different types of product, well, not types, but variants of coffee tables, sizes, and side tables. But then there were certain ones that did really well, and I just then thought, okay, if these are the ones that are selling well, I'll make more colors and more variants of them, and I'll just get rid of the other ones. So in a way, that is sort of that starting broad and then focusing in on the things that worked well, and that's what I've continued to do, because now I sell more premium side tables, but I have certain design which sells a lot, and so I decided to make variants of that, and I only focus on side tables now. So I suppose I did start wide and then narrowed down to a certain type of product. But I think that's good if you don't necessarily know what you want to sell. Because when I started, I had no clue. I didn't even have training in how to make furniture, so I had no clue. So it was necessary for me to experiment and not decide or fix myself to a certain style or a certain build early on, and explore where my skills and interests took me.
Yeah. From a purely like business perspective, I think it's good to be niche down, because then you can like refine that products and be great at one thing. But you also need to enjoy it and find what you enjoy. And it's also good to see what people like from you. So I think it's better to start out pretty wide and see what you like doing and learn a lot. Yeah,
for sure. So how did you transition? Did you transition from turning? Is the second school that you went to, was that not to do with turning specifically? Was that more to do with furniture design?
Yeah, furniture design, like technical. So we had some projects we should make, like a coffee table, and it needed to have some kind of veneer, and we needed to make like a lamelle board, I think it's the English term. So we needed to make like a homemade stuff with the cross veneers and practice that. And like a tool chest I made, we could decide if we wanted to make a wall cabinet or a tool chest or...
Wow.
And then, like the second year, we made a pretty advanced tool, like a lot of different angles, and it was a set design, and everyone made the same stool, a chair. I mean, but between those projects, we had a lot of free time where we could just make what we wanted. But it was always to kind of push our techniques further. But yeah, and the lathe, when I came to that school, the lathe sucked. Like, it was terrible. Now, like, my last few months, they got a new, pretty good lathe. Not a new one, a very old one, but a different one, a better. So for me, I think it was good that they had a bad lathe, because then I needed to like push my and try different things.
Yeah. Are there any key things you learned when you started that helped you make your business more efficient? Because often when we start as woodworkers selling things, so it's hard. It can become a chore to track your time and to track where you're putting your money. And I often found when I first quoted jobs that I would totally underestimate my time. Time, shipping costs, cost of like cardboard boxes and packaging, and all that stuff adds up. And then soon, by the end of the project, you've realized, oh shit, I've not made any money.
Yeah, for sure. So I started out by just, because when I was in the university, my first school, we had a lesson, and it was a silversmith, goldsmith. She was making rings and stuff, and she had a class on us about pricing and like the business side. And her price model was just so low. I was just thinking, like, with all the other stuff you need to do in your business, you can't charge an hourly rate that is so low, just counting the hours from the project itself, because you don't get to spend that many hours just building and making the craft itself. So I just knew quite early on that I needed to charge higher prices, and that it was better to focus on growing on social media and growing my brand, and then just wait until the right people find me, and then I could charge higher prices. So that's because also I experienced that I sold out quite quickly in the beginning. So it was just no meaning selling them so cheap, because I didn't have anything to sell. But it is a balance in the beginning, because your skills are probably not that good. So you don't want to sell it too expensive, but yeah, definitely not too low. So I definitely mixed around, and I sold a few quite expensive pieces early on, which gave me hope, and just like I should just focus on getting better at my skills and try to charge more. And that has been my kind of strategy for many years now. But I have tried to make a bit more cheaper pieces, just because there's not a lot of people that can afford those higher prices, and it's nice to sell to more people, of course. So I have experimenting with that, but the projects that have made me the most money is for sure the finer pieces that I have also spent more time with them, but it makes them more unique, and people are ready to pay more for it. So from a purely financial perspective, it's better for me to just make finer pieces, I have found.
Right, yeah.
How about you?
I mean, so I'm sort of the opposite. I make a lot of the same piece, but it's in a way it's unique enough that I can charge like a middle ground price, where if I sell enough of them per week or per month and I make them all together, I get great efficiencies that way, and I make a good margin on them. So yeah, I offer a side table that has like unique legs, and it has a unique door, and that seems to attract a lot of people. And I try and charge as much as I can for it. And so my approach to pricing, or raising my pricing, was I'll always try and increase my price until I stop selling. So if I ever have a period where I'm just sold so many, then I'll think I need to up my price, because one, I'll either stress myself out trying to deliver them in the right time. Yeah. So every time I reach a period where I feel like I'm selling too many, then I'll try and up my price, and that sort of has coincided with my growth on social media and my growth in my skills.
Nice. It's good to hear that both strategies works. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and I guess with batch, because I do like a hybrid between. It's like batch making, but I make all my stuff made to order. So when people buy it, it's not made. But because of my growth, I'm able to save on the efficiencies of batch making because I'm consistently making sales. So I'm consistently making them, pumping them out. And yeah. Whereas I have thought about possibly making a couple. I have played with the idea of, when I get a couple new designs for side tables, that I batch make maybe 20 and then do like a pre-order and try it that way round. And I'll try and push the boundaries of my skills, and therefore that should reflect in the pricing, and maybe add unique ways of making each piece slightly unique.
I like the pre-order thing. I haven't done it a lot, but I like the idea that you can make one piece and then just ask people if they're interested in more, because then, you don't have to spend the time up front.
Yeah. Because that's effectively, for all my more premium products, that's effectively what I did. I made prototypes of them, which I then listed on my website, and then obviously they'd be made to order. So I'd never actually sell that prototype. When I got sales, I'd make new ones. So it's effectively what I did, and I think made to order is a great tool for getting started, because you make your prototype, but it means if you're unsure about your skills or the demand for a product, then made to order can be a great way without having to commit a lot of money to materials and time to making pieces. But then you do pay a bit in terms of the customer can't get it right then, right now, which everyone's sort of used to with Amazon, like next day delivery. But I think people understand with furniture making, because it's a human craft and it requires time.
Yeah. It's like a old story about a Danish cabinet maker. I think a customer came in and ordered like a cabinet, I think it was, and 2 years later, the cabinet maker showed up, and he told her that piece is now finished, and so she didn't know anything about the price or the design, and he came back, and it was a share that he made 2 years later, and she just like accepted and bought it.
Wow.
I don't know if that story is true, but I've heard it. So yeah, some people, I guess, just like the experience ordering from a craftsperson, and that it can be anything really, but some people are very precise. What do you prefer working with? Do you do any custom work? Or
okay, yeah. So I do some custom work, and it's usually when a commission request intrigues me. I get a lot of requests, and at first I tried to all of them because I was just starting out, and I think commission requests, if you're also selling your own products, can be great for pushing like your design, and for me, it pushed me to make things that I wouldn't have thought of making, and also learning to work with people and design with people is a good skill. So at first I would take them, but now I'll only take them if they really interest me.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy both. It's nice to both make my own design and also just design other people's stuff or make other people's stuff. But I mostly make my own designs.
Yeah. I guess something that else I suppose I should touch on, because I make a lot of the same thing, is in terms of when you start putting the work into creating, if you're going to be batch making products, creating jigs, creating process notes and measurements, and blocking your time out. For me, a big efficiency saver or time saver was actually writing out each step of making my side tables and then attaching diagrams and measurements to them. Because yes, in my head I knew how to build it, but I'd often find myself running back and forth trying to find the prototype that I made, measuring parts on the prototype because I'd forgotten the exact measurement. And so writing up process notes and measurements, and then also putting the effort in to make jigs so that I don't even have to think about what I'm necessarily doing, really saves time. And that's super important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Is there any machine or tool you have invested in that was a game changer when it comes to producing?
A jointer for me. And that's quite common. Surface planer. It's quite a common tool, but when I first started, I just had a thicknesser. So I was using that to joint my boards, where that actually takes, if you're going to be producing a lot of products, it takes a lot of time to set up a sled so that you can joint your boards. And because you've either got a hot glue, you've got to fix it down either with double-sided sticky tape, but I found hot glue was the best way because the sticky tape would sometimes just lift off. And it's so fiddly. And if you got more than like 10 boards to joint, that takes so much time. So yeah, that was a great time saver. And also, I mean, I already had a router table. That's great for repeat. I do a lot of repeat shapes where I have templates. Yeah, making templates. Yeah. Make good templates, not just ones that you're then going to throw away. That's super important if you've got a lot of the same shaped pieces to cut out. But I also invested in I invested in a sander. The thing that people hate the most. So I found I started off with a what type of sander? It's like a vibrating sander, and yeah, that's good. But when you've got a lot of stuff to sand, having an random orbital sander really helps, especially when you're first starting out. And then I went from a little DeWalt one to the large Festool one, which also has a combined. It also acts as not only a random orbit, but it acts a bit like an angle grinder and can take off a lot of material. So if you're doing a lot of sanding, trying to invest in a good sander will save you time. For
sure. Yeah. Even if I don't use my drum sander a lot, it's still such a time saver. If there is any like figure on the wood that makes like tear outs on a plank, if I'm planing it, you just run it through the drum sander. It saves so much time. Yeah,
I have thought about getting a drum sander, but yeah, I don't know. It has been one of those things where I've just thought like, oh, that could actually save me quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I don't use it a lot, but when I do, it's great. But I have pretty like rough paper in it. It's like 80 or something, so I still have to do quite a bit of sanding afterwards. It's just nice if I need to remove more quickly. Yeah. But when I was in school, they were such good machines. So if my workshop right now feels a bit limited, like I would like better machines. But I'm thinking about investing in new machines, but it's expensive. And
yeah, it is. Okay, so what are the core tools you would, or machines you would purchase if you were just starting out again?
Definitely a table saw. But the table saw I have, it's good, but I would like a panel saw. So, but it depends on what you're going. If you're very serious and are working on bigger projects, definitely get a panel saw. You will use it so much for a lot of different things. If you're more towards the hobby or working on smaller projects, a good table saw will help you a lot. And like you can't really work without a jointer or a thickness planer.
Yeah.
So definitely you just need that, right? A bandsaw. I don't know how you would work without a bandsaw.
I don't have one. I use my jigsaw still.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still use my jigsaw. It every time I use it, I'm like, a bandsaw would make this so much quicker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the most important ones. How about you?
So yeah, table saw 100%. As quickly as you can get a thicknesser and jointer, for sure. Especially because you don't want to be messing around with trying to buy your material already surfaced, because between it coming from where you've bought it and to where you got it, there's going to be movement, and your board's probably not going to be flat anymore. So yeah, those are needed for sure. And then if you'll for me, a router table is something that I use every day, and I couldn't live without it, because if you're shaping wood where you're not bending, which is a lot of people, having a router table is so valuable, because you can make lots of repeat unique shapes.
Yeah. I think that what might be one of the machines I use the most, or it's definitely one of the machines I use the most.
Yeah.
That and the table saw, I think, is the ones I use most.
And I suppose when you start, because you can get a router and a table, and so you don't actually need two routers, because routers are also you'll end up using them a lot for adding profiles if you're not a hand tool enthusiast. Okay, should we talk about types of projects that make the most money? Because this is something that as woodworkers, I think we're always trying to crack the code, hack, find the best way to make the most money out of our work. And it is true, there are certain projects where you get a good overlap between uniqueness, but also time efficiency, and then the price you can charge for it.
So the woodworkers I see make most amount of money. They are doing some kind of installations, like wardrobes or bigger shelf systems that is built in, or kitchen. But that's kind of not the things we are talking about now. We're talking more about the standalone pieces that you can make in your workshop and ship away, right? So for me, it's just because I've been making a lot of cabinets, but I think the most profitable projects for me are cabinets, but it's not something I would recommend anyone to do, because it's not something everyone really needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so, what size of cabinets are you selling? Are you typically making? Are they big or are they small?
Smaller.
Small. Okay.
Like yeah.
Okay. So that's quite good in a way, because that brings your shipping costs down.
Yeah. For sure.
Because for me, my sort of approach was, what do people need the most? And bedside table is a very common piece of furniture. They're not too big, so they're somewhat easy to ship. And I feel like bedside tables are things that people want to sort of have their own unique style in their bedroom. But yeah, it's not necessarily typically that niche of a product, so that's why it does quite well for me.
Yeah, I guess also like side tables, small coffee tables also do very well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, coffee tables. Yeah, but I think there is a difference between like things that sell the most and then things that make the most money. Because when I think of things that sell the most, I think of like trays and chopping boards and coasters, things like that. Everyone wants and needs them and wants them in natural wood, but trying to make them so you get a good margin is there's a lot to compete with because they sell a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of repetitive work. I wouldn't enjoy making cutting boards for a living, but I guess you could make pretty good money if you have good tools and like a efficient process.
Yeah, that really relies on you having an efficient process, doesn't it?
Yeah. I made a lot of boxes as well. So probably the thing that I have sold the most of is not cabinets, it's probably boxes.
Like the little pop-up one.
Yeah, that one. I tried that one last Christmas and sold quite well. And like some more advanced jewelry boxes I made in the past, more unique ones that has sold, but I haven't had a big production of those. Just more custom work. Yeah. Watch boxes I made for like a Swiss watchmaker. Yeah, so that was a bit bigger.
Actually, that's quite a good strategy if you pick a piece that you need for a high-end product already. So like watches, you're targeting the right audience already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's clever.
And I feel like jewelry boxes as well.
Yeah,
like it's a bit more high-end.
Yeah. And it's a whole experience putting your jewelry on or storing your jewelry. Yeah. Just having like a custom box adds to that whole like experience, I guess.
Yeah. Like a ritual.
Yeah.
Almost.
Have you made any something I'd like to try is making like custom lights. I'm fascinated by people that make sculptured like wood pieces, but they're lights, lamps. I find that so cool.
I've done some lights, and so actually I made like a prototype light once. It's hanging right over me now, and then one saw those and they wanted them. I made it in pear wood, so I got an order from a restaurant to make like 3, I think, in walnuts. So I've done a bit of that, and they're pretty sculptural. They're a bit unique. But it's so nice just looking at lights and how you can change it and shape the wood, and it gives you a lot of freedom in terms of shaping the wood, because there is no really right or wrong. Like when you make a table or a box or a cabinet, it needs to have some kind of function. Yeah. And the light's only function is to give light, and then you have a lot of free stuff to play around with, right?
Yeah, and there's like that inherent wow factor of, yes, you have a really cool piece, but then you turn it on and it lights up and everyone's just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've been playing with a couple designs of shelving that has lights recessed underneath, because I wanna have a place where I put all my it's going to be multifunctional, but put my camera lenses and then next to it have all my chisels lined up along, and I want some form of like work light underneath it, which would be some strip. But yeah, anything to do with, actually, to be honest, anything to do with electronics and woodworking is something I'm really interested in.
Cool. Yeah. I haven't worked a lot with electricity, and that that scares me a bit, I think.
Yeah. When you're working with the low voltage stuff, it's fine. You only fry your own electrics, but
yeah. But selling lamps, you have to be careful. I think it's the same in the UK. I'm not sure, but here in Sweden, if you sell a lamp, it needs to be like CE tested.
right, yes, yeah.
But I think you can come around that if you sell them separately. So you sell the lamp and then they mount together. So if you make a lampshade, they have to put it together themselves. So you sell them separately.
Okay, that's interesting.
But if you sell them together, yeah,
I suppose
could be problems.
Right. Oh, so is it the fact that it's even if you buy hardware that is tested, is it the fact that it's installed in a piece that's the problem?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
Okay, so you got to be crafty at the ways. I get, yeah, right. I really like the lamps where people put like effort into the cables, like they get colored braided cables that really tie in well with the piece.
Yeah, lamps are cool. I really like it. So, like you said, when you get like a nice cable that is textile covered or something,
or you have like a satisfying dimmer. If you're interested in the things that we talked about today, we offer a course and coaching program to help take your crafting business to the next level. So click the link below and you can book a free call.
And on that call, we will have a look. And if we can help you, we will tell you how. And if not, we will be honest about that too. So book a call and talk to you soon.
Awesome.